Let's roll.
Yo, all my enemies is finished. Niggas getting old. I'm in the fountain of youth, which is the booth. Pick it up, yeah, smoke it up. Because yo, I'm celebrating 4-year Hepset victory. Yo, too nasty. It's my victory scar. All my enemies is dead and buried. Dream quick scar. It's king, got no with a supermodel dog. And we gon' smoke weed by the trees and swallow scar. Jog full of Heineken, sitting on my table. Them niggas tried to keep up with me, but they wasn't able. Man, the way I'm dropping bangers make these rappers look disabled. I heard them say they gonna run up on me, that be fake. The body bag and some fucking shovels. I'ma make your own grave. You niggas, you in trouble. You live in fantasy and I'ma bust your
Let's go, people. Where you at?
market fam. This shit is my hustle. Rap, mega fam, a whole new genre. Dragon Slayer infamous, they say we got that drama. I'm really full of muscle even when my niggas was marker. They tried to lock me down, but now I'm back to finish my saga. Pick it up, it's my victory scar. All my enemies is dead and buried. Dream with me scar. It's king, got no with a supermodel dog. And we gon' smoke weed by the trees and swallow scar. Drink it up, it's my victory scar. All my enemies is dead and buried. Dream with me scar. It's king, got no with a supermodel dog. And we gon' smoke weed by the trees and swallow scar. Bloody murder, tell these devils I ain't playing. I manifest the God to get on with this dragon slaying. Find these man are mumble rappers, don't know what the fuck they saying. I fall upon the devil, let me find out where he's staying. Got my adversaries like they crawl up on the rocks. You never see them niggas face no more around the block. Cause they scared, bumping to them, you can see they heart stop. They pupils dilating cause they asses in shock. And I'm a non-stop until you niggas sick and tired.
Sick and tired.
Whoever, I ain't even done when I'm retired. If the money right, I might call
Right,
it
man.
around two and I don't
We're going to speak about the elect. It's the chosen few out of the many called. That's what I want to speak about today with my new crowd. Whoever tunes in, welcome to you all. We love you all. You understand? Wherever you may find yourself in the world, Jedefre Memnon loves you. I'm here for you. Right, let's get all of this set. Rahu Bat Yasar, Rahu Bat family. Wherever you may find yourself in the world, today I want to talk about the elect. Do you understand? I want to talk about those souls who have a mission on earth, a very important mission to affect change in this very critical time where we seem to be under attack from every angle, from every kind of devil, on every level. Okay? So I want to say, Hupa Neteru, Menu Nutshayu, Kamunda Lulbihu, yo, Wadu. Shout out to you. Yeah? I'm sorry I was running a bit late. I'm still getting my timing and everything and setting up the screen and everything right. But I want to talk about the chosen few out of the many called, not just to talk about them, but to remind you that we have a very significant mission on the planet Earth to liberate Mother Earth, from the spiritual wickedness that is attacking us and that is trying to imprison our consciousness, okay? First of all, I'll say this. If you're a light worker, if you see yourself as a warrior of the light, a Medjay, a protector, an empath, seers, prophets, messengers, healers, sages, wise men and women, we actually chose to be here at this specific place, in this specific moment in space and time. Okay? So none of us are here by accident. Okay? And though a lot of things may be going on in your life that make you feel like you're not being listened to, your message is not coming across, just know that you are creating ripples in space-time, even with your thoughts alone, with your consciousness, by having positive thoughts and putting these positive thoughts out into the universe, your intention. Because your intention purifies your action, okay? For those of you who know me already, I'm Jed Ephraim Memnon. I'm an author under the Scribe Tribe / TZT Publishing Company. And what we do, what my mission is to bring you works, books, yeah, talks that are aimed at our generation, the hip hop generation. I want to shout out all of the master teachers that came before myself in their own generation, from Dr. Ben Yochanan to Henrik Clark to Dr. Malachi Z. York to Kaba Kameni. Who else have we got? Ivan Van Sertima. Can't forget Sheikh Anta Diop. Okay? All of these people, they also chose to come here in their time when there wasn't a lot of information out there about the true legacy, because it's a legacy, of melanated people, okay? Because we're not going to go under the term black no more in terms of the legal definition of the world. Them master teachers chose to come here so they could uncover certain hidden truths that were deliberately hidden away from our people and hidden away from the wider world, okay? They did many great works, man. All of their names are called and more, to make sure that we wasn't just stuck on slavery, because a lot of people want to, the world wants to trap our people's history into just slavery alone. That's like I said before, if Black history was a book of 1,000 pages, then slavery would start on the last page, on 999. Page 999 is where slavery would start, okay? So salute to everybody. Whether you tune in for the live, whether you see it when it's posted up on the channel, I want to salute you for taking the time out to hear this message, because this message affects all of us. We're all one. We're all connected in the oneness of all things, okay? So I want to salute you, the viewer, who's taking the time out of your day. Time is of the essence right now. Time is just running away like there isn't 24 hours in a day no more. So salute to yourself, man. Give yourself a round of applause for being here at this specific moment in time. Now, as I made reference to, the master teachers, they came here with a specific job to uncover all of the, not all of it, but a lot of the hidden information that was deliberately being kept from us. As I said, if Black history was a book, okay, if Black history was a book, slavery would start on page 999. And also I want to make the point that slavery isn't exactly Black history. Slavery is as much Caucasian history as it is melanated history. It interrupted our legacy, our history, which was a legacy spanning back, let's say, to cut it short, 7,000 years. As you read the Dravidian texts make it clear. The Dravidian texts are texts that was unearthed in India, or the Indus Valley, East India. And in the Dravidian text, it speaks about how the Kushites, okay, the melanated people, ruled all 7 continents and ruled the world for 7,000 years before we got to this point where everybody wants to lock us in slavery. So slavery is not even 1%, not even 1% of our history. So the master teachers came to dig out certain things about Kemet, to dig out certain things about Kush in Ethiopia, to dig out certain facts about Sumeria or Babylon, Mesopotamia, and also on the other side of the pond, which is today called America, but we're going to refer to it as Atlantis or Amaruka, yeah, home of the Amaru Khans, Olmecs, Hopis, Washito, Yamasi, Yamakra, Mayans, Aztecs, Toltecs, all of the Nahuatl tribes. Okay, melanated people are the true Native Americans of Atlan or Amaruka, yeah, America. And today, everything is twisted up, back to front and turned upside down. So we don't really get the gist of how important our culture was or is on this here planet Earth, because the history of his story is culture, is our culture, melanated culture. Okay, so we had a bunch of master teachers who came and dug up relevant information about how our ancestors empowered the earth with the gift of civilization and the fruits that civilization brings forth, like the several liberal arts, science, mathematics, engineering, astrology or solar biology, if you want to call it that, spirituality with the Ma'atian spirituality of truth, justice, and reciprocity. Okay, the master teachers came and did a fantastic job in digging out all of that information. I'm not going to tarry too long, but I just wanted to get this message out as a warm into presenting myself on YouTube. Okay, so yeah, they did a fantastic job. If the master teachers are is something you've studied on yourself, like you've studied the works of Dr. Ben Yochanan and everything he did to uncover certain hidden truths and our stolen legacy. If you've researched people like Dr. Henrik Clark, Sheikh Anta Diop, Ivan Van Sertima, who were brilliant minds who were out in the fields. They weren't just on social media or YouTube doing lives or trying to be social media philosophers. They was out in the fields, man. They went and got their papers on certain things and became experts so they could challenge and debunk certain false theories about our people and our ancestors. I want to shout them out, but at the same time, I want to make it clear that we're in a new generation now. We're not in the 1960s or in the 1970s where we was first coming into certain information about ourselves and presenting it against all of the lies that have been taught about us. Okay, we need somebody for this generation that is going to add on to the legacy that they already diligently built. Why I say that is because there's a lot of information and a lot of things that are happening on the planet now that wasn't happening in their time. A lot of the master teachers were strictly historians. Even though they were metaphysical in some aspects, it was more based on the historical content of our people and our story, which goes back, as I said, to cut it short, 7,000 years, all right? Now we find ourselves in a day and time where we've got all these synthetic pathogens, let's use that word so we don't get censored. We've got synthetic pathogens where they're trying to lock us down around the planet, everywhere we are, going on everywhere in the earth in the same time. So it's not even specific to one place no more, it's everywhere, it's a global thing, okay? We've got now the UFO phenomenon, aliens, archons, human cloning, what else have we got? Human cloning, we've got all this, let's say pedophilia and sex trafficking with the chrome culture, that because they came before this time, before these last days, they didn't go into none of that stuff. They didn't tie the history of our people to certain things like the Asian astronaut hypothesis, aliens, like I said, the technology, where the technology is today with cloning and avatars. Um, they wasn't specifically speaking out against the synthetic pathogens, pestilences, plagues that we seem to be cornered with now. And I really feel like I am one of them people who has come to not only give you the history of our people, adding on to what the master teachers already did, but in essence, linking that to current events and scrutinizing it against current events in the world today. Okay, so I believe we need more people, not just myself, more teachers. I don't even like the word teacher, but more speakers, more awakeners. Okay, more light workers that is willing to tackle all of the nefarious, malevolent activities that are going on in the planet today and give us some kind of context as to why this is happening and how we can best tackle it and deal with it. So first, let me just say, we wrote a number of books. I don't have all of them here because two of them are sold out. But I'm just going to go through these with you very quickly. We've got Treasures in the Sun, yeah, which took 6 years to write. This is the first edition, which is available on Amazon for anybody who's interested. Amazon UK, you can get yourself a copy of Treasures in the Sun, which is a fantastic book, as I said, adding on to the legacy that the master teachers came down and diligently presented to us. We have three versions of Treasures in the Sun. You got a first edition, which is on Amazon. We've also got a revised edition with the same cover, just a bit of a bigger book that I don't have here. Well, I do have here with me. Let me bring it out for you to show you. We have a revised edition that we revised in 2019, which, as you can see, is a bit bigger than the first edition, which is on Amazon. Okay, updated, certain themes in there which were not as clearly presented as I could have presented them. We went back into it and presented it in an easier light, because I feel like when I first wrote the book, this is the first book I ever wrote. Like I said, it took 6 years, and I feel like I was writing to myself. I wasn't writing to people who have never delved into the legacy of melanated people in the Nile Valley and the Nile Valley culture. So I wanted to simplify it. I wanted to simplify the wording, and we did a great job in the revised edition. You can get the revised edition signed copies from myself. We'll soon have them presented on the channel as merchandise, so bear with us. And then also we've got the masterpiece, which is Treasures in the Sun Dark Winter Edition. We did this edition to add pictures into it because, like I said, when I first started writing books, I wasn't aware of all the stuff that you could do to make the book better. Now, when we wrote this book here, we came to the point where we can now add pictures to the book and present it in a much better format. So this is the masterpiece. So you got Treasures in the Sun, which has got 3 editions of it. All of them are relevant, okay? Why I put pictures in it is because I feel like if we're going to present this to the children, they learn better when they can have images to associate the wording with certain images, so they can get, because the brain is an associative tool, okay? Like if I said bread, you're going to picture bread in your head. If you say elephant, you're going to see an elephant in your head. So I feel like just to get the message to the children, we needed to bring pictures and put pictures in the book. Writing this book and perfecting it over the years made me into an author, okay? So after that, I wrote 2 more books. One's called Coronation, the Scamdemic. You know what that's about. It speaks for itself. Agenda 21. This also has pictures, okay? Agenda 21, the Scamdemic, which goes into these pestilences that they're hitting us with, which has been done deliberate. It didn't escape naturally, like Dr. Death, you know who I'm talking about, is trying hard to keep that narrative that it escaped from some wet animal market naturally. Yeah, this book was written before the vacations. You know what vacations are, right? We're not talking about going to Hawaii, but this book was written before the vacations came out. I'll just read the back of it for you, okay? With so much disinformation about what is occurring in our planet with the Rona, UFO activity, economic recession, climate change, rumors of nuclear war, political divides, Brexit, the US elections last year, etc. How can we discern reality from illusion? This being probably the most traumatic period in modern human history, what are the facts and who is responsible? This well-researched book has been written out of a sense of duty to all humanity in order that we may change everything wrong with our world. Jedefre Memnon KKR 360. So that's Coronation. Okay, this is also available. If you want to order from me, the best thing to do, if you can't wait for us to have it presented on the channel, we do sell them on our Instagram page, which is at TZT underscore publishing underscore group. You can find me on Instagram. You can come into the DM. We do signed copies of all the books and send them out, post them all around the world via Royal Mail. And as I said, we sign a personal message inside all of the books, a personal message for all of our buyers, okay? So that's book 1 and book 2 in the Light of the Sun series, because it's all one series. And then we've got the Golden Child, Israel, okay? Because I wanted to make a case and tackle the misinformation and the doctrine of what people are referring to Hebrew Israelites, okay? We do have 2 more books. We have a part 2 of Coronation, because as I said, I wrote this book before the vacations came out. This book was published on Friday the 13th of November 2020, yeah, last year. So as I said, this was before the vacations came out, and we presented what was exactly in them vacations from whistleblowers that had come forward that worked for certain companies and spilled the beans on what exactly was being put into these vacations, these poisons, okay? We wrote a part 2 to this called COVID 1984, Agenda 2030. So this is Coronation, the Scamdemic, Agenda 21. And part 2 is COVID 1984, Agenda 2030. We also wrote another book called What Side of History? The Supernatural Origins of Man. Those 2 books, COVID 1984 and What Side of History, both sold out. They're selling really quickly, okay? Now, as I said, my job, as why I chose to be here on the planet Earth today, is because my mission was to come and present our legacy from outside of the story, okay? And also update the information that the master teachers had come and dug up and presented to us. So I stand on the shoulders of the greatness of all those who came before me, and I don't take credit for all the information that I'm relaying to you. It doesn't come from me, it comes through me. So I could assist our generation in coming back into the full understanding and overstanding of who exactly, who and what we are exactly, okay? Now, in Treasures in the Sun, we go into the story of the Neteru. Some people call them Anunnaki. Some people call them Elohim. Some people call them Thunderbirds. Some people may call them aliens, extraterrestrials, Nephilim, Archons, the Demiurge. We present in our book, Treasures in the Sun, the fact that when you speak about religion and you speak about God, you're actually speaking about the same Neteru, the same Anunnakis, who in today's language is called extraterrestrials, beings that came from another world or another dimension, if you prefer, and came here and initiated Homo sapiens onto the planet, okay? So in the first 17 pages, we go through that story to speak about Nibiru, speak about Nemesis, speak about how our ancient cultures were founded by otherworldly beings, beings that came from off planet, okay? And came and presented us with the gifts of civilization, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so that we could prosper here on the planet and come into our full potential, okay? And I don't think enough has been done in our generation to speak about these things and link it with the ancestors. Because when you check organizations like NASA, the CIA, uh, MJ12, Majestic 12, these organizations spend a lot of time, effort, and money investigating these things: UFOs, the Asian astronaut hypothesis, portals, wormholes at certain ancient sites. And they do this investigation without telling us. They don't come and present the fact that they're doing these investigations and using millions of dollars of taxpayers' money uh, to find out these things. They're looking into time travel, they're looking into wormholes. I'm sure you must have heard before that the Iraq war wasn't specifically about oil. There was more to that story than they told us on the mainstream media, on the CNNs and the BBCs and stuff. They was actually um, trying to get from Saddam a certain technology that he was hiding and certain bodies that he was hiding underneath the ziggurat of Nana Sin. If you look into Iraq, southern Iraq, you'll see there's a ruins left of a ziggurat. A ziggurat is an ancient step pyramid structure, and like the Tower of Babel. And underneath the step pyramid of Nana Sin is a specific Anunnaki deity. Under his temple, the ruins of his temple, uh, allegedly stargates were found, the body of Nimrod was found, and beings like Gilgamesh, if you're familiar with them beings, were found. And Saddam was hiding them and keeping them away from the international community. And he had activated certain stargates and certain technologies where him and his people, the Ba'ath Party, which is kind of like a equivalent to the Nazi Party in Iraq. So he had his own Nazi type party that was looking into these things and utilizing that technology to achieve a certain end. His mission or ambition was to rebuild Babylon, okay, which he's seen as his ancestors, okay. So the international community came together and swarmed down onto Iraq while they told us it was all about oil. They sent people's sons and daughters to this war to die because they had to have that technology. We go through that in Treasures in the Sand. We're not just talking about history. We're linking the history of our people and the Asian astronaut hypothesis to the fact that melanated culture, because of the contact that it had and the initiation that it had with these extraterrestrials, we were miles ahead of everybody else on the planet. While other people were in caves and living a cave life, our people, we didn't come from monkeys, we didn't come from simians, we came from a direct contact and genetic manipulation of what you would call God, or what you could call Elohim or Neteru or Anunnaki. Second, the ancestors told me to write about what's going on in the world now, and that's why we wrote the two books, Coronation, the Scamdemic, Agenda 21, and Part 2, COVID-19 84. Because the ancestors simply said to me in my meditation, nobody in our generation is really going to put all of this in a book and present it to us. We're just going to have to put up with the false narratives that they're giving us in their mainstream media. So ancestors said, we need you to take a break from the history and aliens and stuff and speak specifically about this scamdemic, this pestilence, okay? And you can read about this in Psalms 91. I use Psalms 91 to tie it to what's going on now, okay? Because the Psalms is also a prophetic book. It's not just Revelation, that's a prophetic book. And if you read Psalms 91, there's an uncanny resemblance to what's going on now. It seems like the being, whether you think it's King David, who I say is Akhenaten, who got the Psalms first. You can see them Psalms carved on the Temple of the Sun in Akhet-Aten, which was the city of Akhenaten, and they lifted it straight off his temple and put it in the Bible and accredited it to some being that's never been found, whose name is King David. Akhenaten is a real being, and he was the one who penned the Psalms, okay? I wanted to research it because I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not a qualified doctor or physician or anything like that. The ancestors told me research it and we will lead you to the right places so that you could present this to your generation about what's really going on. We wrote Coronation, and it's a very well received book. It was so on point that when we put it out and we started posting excerpts from it onto Facebook, they immediately deactivated our account. They never banned us for 30 days or restricted us or none of that. They came up one morning and said, listen, your account's deactivated. So I lost everything on that account. All the 5-6 years of building up a forum where we had 5,000-6,000 people in the forum and we were speaking about these things. The moment we presented this online and let it be known what this book was about, they deactivated the account. And that's how we know we hit a nerve, especially now, because we was already talking about in the book the smart prison. Let's call it the smart prison. Today, Mark Zuckerberg is calling it the metaverse, but we was calling it in here the smart prison, and speaking about augmented reality, which the metaverse is. It's a false reality. It's meta means beyond or to transcend. So if you say metaverse, they're going beyond the universe or beyond this natural universe to present us with a fake avatar, digitized, augmented reality universe where they could trap us in and trap our consciousness inside of it. You can watch movies like Surrogates, The Matrix, to really get an idea of what this metaverse really is. So we wrote about it. We sat down for 6-7 months and researched it. We started writing this book before George Floyd happened. Okay, before that George Floyd psyop happened and before the Vacations came out, we had already started out on writing this book. We was about 1-2 chapters in, and then in May, the George Floyd psyop happened, where whether they were supposed to kill him or not, it was deliberate. It was a psyop. So we wrote about that and tied it to how they want to bring in this new system and take out fiat currency money, because the fiat currency system of debt was failing, and these people could no longer pay their debts. So they had to come up with an entirely new system of money, and they had to come up with a reset to keep this grid, this when I say the grid, I mean this trapping us in this false history, false science, false identity of self. They had to reset everything from 2020 came in. We also spoke about in the book Genesis 15:13, where God apparently tells Abraham that your people are going to be slaves in a foreign land and oppressed by a foreign people for 400 years, okay? And then after the 400 years, the people will start waking up and come back, yeah? Come back to the Holy Land, which if you ask me, is Africa. Because when you speak about, people like to go on like Egypt is not in Africa. Kemet is a part of Africa. It's not in the Middle East. There's no such thing as the Middle East. Because if there's a Middle East, that means there's a Middle West, there's a Middle South, and there's a Middle North. But there is none. So therefore, the Middle East is a made-up construct to make you think that places like Arabia, Egypt, or Kemet, Israel is not in Africa, but it's all in Africa. So that is the Holy Land. And especially if you study topography, which is the composition of the land and the shape and the structure and the minerals of the land, then the Middle East and Africa is one land. There's no difference. It's Africa. So we presented a lot of things in Coronation Agenda 21 to do with what's going on, the 400-year prophecy, the return of Nibiru, the plagues that were spoken about in the book of Revelation, okay? The 7 plagues Revelation spoke about, because you got to remember there is 7 types of coronavirus. 7. There were 6 of them previous to this one. I'm not talking about variants. I'm talking about strains of the virus. So you had 6 different strains of coronavirus. You have more than 6, but 6 of them that affect human beings, that affect us. And there's never been a successful vaccine for any one of them 6 previous coronavirus strains. This one that we've seen, that is branched off into all these variants, is the 7th. So as you can see, it lines up with what's said in the Injil, and the word Injil in Aramaic Hebrew means to reveal, and that's why they call it the Book of Revelation, which originally is 22 books. Okay, so Revelation speaks about these 7 pestilences or plagues or pathogens, viruses that will be released on us in these last days. We speak about all of that in the book Coronation. I use the title Coronation because coronation means for you to, when a king is coronated, when you're crowned. And when you say corona, the sun has a corona. The sun's corona is his crown. And also your corona can mean the crown of your head. So we presented the information in here to let you know that this was a crown virus that is here to remove the crown or the fake crown of the planet Earth that has got us locked into this false reality for the last 6,000 years under a spell of amnesia. Okay? My job is to present y'all with the facts, linking history with current events. Okay? So I feel like the powers that be are doing their utmost to keep messages like mine away from the public forum. They don't want the public to dabble into this sort of information. That's why you've seen the censoring has gone on a madness. I was getting, before they deactivated my Facebook page, I was already getting heavily shadow banned. I was getting banned every month, nearly every month for 30 days. As soon as I come out of ban, they find something on my page again to ban us again, labeling it, coming out with the fact checkers, who we know is just the thought police. That's just the thought police from the George Orwell warnings, because it was a warning when he gave us that 1984 book. He was telling us about Big Brother. He was telling us about the thought police or the fact checkers and the censoring and the sheep robot mentality that they were trying to lock us into. Now you can see today when you look around you, not only the augmented reality and augmented humans, especially with this metaverse revelation that has come with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. We also presented people with the fact that AI is going to achieve singularity. We speak about people like Elon Musk and the technology that has come from your government's contact with certain malevolent extraterrestrials, where they were swapping human beings so these beings could eat them, experiment on them, take them off planet to their own planet and enslave them in exchange for certain technology. Also, it wasn't just malevolent, it's not just malevolent ETs that are here. Most of the extraterrestrials that are here and have been here since we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima is actually here to assist humanity to come out of this war economy and to get into a more peaceful economy. They're here to try and stop the madness. So the technology that we have in the world today actually came from the good guys who wanted to give us cures for certain diseases, who wanted to give us inventions so we could make the world a better place for everyone. But what happened is, you know, you can't trust the government and certain people. They kept that technology and used it to empower themselves, okay? So the elites are privy to this technology and they're 10, 20 years ahead of us. The stuff that we have today, they had that stuff, they was given it 20 years ago, and they was given it to be able to use to improve the planet for everybody, so that we're not here divided and arguing over trivialities, religion, and bombing each other and killing each other. But as I said, your governments cannot be trusted anywhere in the world, whether it's the government here in the UK, whether it's the government in America. They all come together as one shadow government, and they work behind the scenes to keep the technology repressed, because if the technology comes out, they won't be able to have a monopoly on oil. We won't need oil. We won't need electric. We won't need gas, petrol and stuff. We'll have a free energy-based system, and there's no money in that for them. It's the same with certain vaccines that were given to them, like the polio cure and certain other cures and certain cures that could regenerate us so we could live a lot longer than we're living now. I think they call them regeneration beds. They kept all that technology. One example of an extraterrestrial who came here and gave the government this technology, one of the good guys, is who you call Nikola Tesla. A lot of people don't know that Nikola Tesla was actually an Aldebaran who was an immigrant to Venus, because the Aldebarans immigrated to Venus, and then certain Aldebarans came to this planet to try and assist and try and break us out of the matrix, which is controlled by the Archons or the Alpha Draconians. So it's a lot of subjects we touch inside of our books and tie it all together, along with scrutinizing religion. So you could get the truth out of religion, and you could also see the lies that they put in religion. Okay, that's my job. Enough about me. A lot of you have a role. You have a part to play in this mass awakening. You chose to be here deliberately. This is not an accident that we're all here right now fighting against this demiurge. You understand? Our ancestors did the same thing in their time, which is recorded in the Emerald Tablets, when certain beings appeared on the planet that appeared as men, but they wasn't men. If you're listening to the Wisdom of Tahuti, when they uttered certain spells that would take away the hologram, these beings, in the words of Tahuti, were serpent-headed beings, okay? Reptilians. And the same thing is happening on the earth now. So I just wanted to come and give you lot a little presentation and remind you of not only who I am, but who you are and who we are as a collective. We are the resistance. The truth will not be stopped, whether it's YouTube, whether it's IG, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook or Metaverse or whatever they want to call it, whether it's mainstream media. The truth will not be stopped. And I'm sure you can see, especially with the stuff that's just happened with Travis Scott and Astroworld, we're at a very critical point, okay? There's a lot of work to do, not only in the planet, but on ourselves, so we could bring our powers back online, because we are supernatural beings. And there's a lot of downloads coming from Mother Nature right now. And that's why they're trying to distract us with all of this malevolence, so that you can't really concentrate on the certain frequencies, on the certain UV rays that are coming and bringing, I'm not going to say information, I'm going to say outformation. Information that will transform you and take you out of the devil's formation. Because when you say information, what they're telling us and what they're giving us in the mainstream is keeping us in a certain formation. It's keeping us voting, yeah? It's keeping us acquiescing this system. It's keeping us only in 10% of our brain. It's keeping us in certain dogmas, political dogmas, religious dogmas, certain trivialities. Oh, I'm Hebrew, he's Nation of Islam, he's Nubian, he's this, he's that. They're trying to keep us divided so that we will keep recycling and miss this massive opportunity for us to lift this prison system off of our planet and raise us back into the 5D, okay? There is a lot of people out there right now that are doing the same thing that I'm doing, okay? I don't want to go through names or nothing, but I shout out all the people, not only on YouTube, wherever you may be, however you're doing it, all the people that are out enlightening people and inspiring people. Our best currency, our best gift is the influence we have on each other, to bring each other out of this gloom, to bring each other out of this darkness and out of this age of ignorance. We have stepped into the age of what we call happy, or the age of Aquarius, which is the age of knowing. So it's time for all of us to scrutinize our beliefs. It's time for all of us to be able to agree to disagree, okay? That is the true one mind, because there can be no physical unity without first having a mental unity. And where we are in the earth now, there's a divide. But the ones of us that are on this side, the right side, can see through all the illusions, all the false narratives that they're spitting out there on the mainstream media. The mainstream media viewing is at its lowest. You understand? Because people can see what's going on. Obviously, it's not all people. Some people are stuck on the 3D and they won't be ascending. But for us, it's of the utmost importance, okay, that you stick to your guns and that you understand you're creating ripples in space-time with every one of your positive thoughts. Even if you think people are not paying attention, even if you feel your message is not getting through, it definitely is getting through. Everything is logged in space and time. That's what I wanted to say to you guys to get this party started, okay? As I said, I'm not going to sit long. I hope that it's something that you will look into more. I hope people will inquire of me and question me, you understand, about the things that I'm revealing to you. I hope to see some of you come on Instagram and order books, yeah? Not just for yourself, but for your children, because we are the earth's last line of defense, man. We're the defenders of the earth, and we're like the goalkeeper. We have to we have to put all of our being, every atom of us, into this message of liberation and influencing other beings to come forward and push this message, because the system's on its last legs. We can't let it off. We can't let it escape. The system's on its last legs. We gotta bring this system down, okay? This is the first of many lives that I'm gonna do on YouTube. You understand? I'm gonna do many. I'm gonna invest in this to make sure that I'm presenting y'all with the facts. I'm gonna upgrade equipment so I can be clearer, so I can have videos and images and stuff showing on the screen, so we can have full interactive discussions, okay? So please look out for the page, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already done so, and share this message. That's what I wanted to say to you guys today. Shout out to everyone who tuned in. Keep your eyes posted on this page, because we're gonna bring you some new information that you probably haven't heard from anyone before. Unless you're somebody like me who's very diligent, then some of you will have heard this before. But please assist us. Yeah, it's not just me. I have a team behind me. Shout out to the team, the Scribe Tribe. Please assist us in bringing this liberation and spreading it across the board on Mother Earth, okay? I salute you guys. We love you all. Hotep, Namastu.